In the winter of 1959, a tragedy unfolded in the frozen wilderness of the Ural Mountains in Soviet Russia. 9 experienced hikers set out on a challenging expedition, led by a 23-year-old engineering student named Igor Dyatlov. None of them could have imagined that their journey would end in one of history's strangest and most enduring mysteries. When the group failed to return, search teams were dispatched. What they found in the snow remains unexplained to this day. A campsite torn open from the inside, belongings left behind as if the hikers fled in terror, barefoot footprints leading into the darkness, and bodies scattered across the mountainside, many bearing horrific and inexplicable injuries. More than 60 years later, the Dyatlov Pass Incident continues to baffle experts, inspire conspiracy theories, and terrify anyone who dares to look too closely. This is the story of the Dyatlov Pass Incident, the hikers. The group was composed of 9 young students and recent graduates from the Ural Polytechnic Institute. They were skilled mountaineers, tough and well-trained in surviving extreme conditions. Igor Dyatlov, the leader, was a meticulous planner and an admired figure among his peers. Lyudmila Dubinina, remembered for her strong personality and determination. Zina Kolmogorova, cheerful and optimistic. Rustem Slobodin, a dedicated athlete. Yuri Krivonishenko, known for his humor. Nikolai Thibault Brignol, a quiet and capable hiker. Semyon Zolotaryov, the oldest member, a veteran of World War II. Yuri Doroshenko, brave and resilient. And finally, Alexander Kolevatov, disciplined and focused. These were not amateurs. Every member had completed difficult hikes before, and several were on the cusp of receiving the Soviet Union's highest certification in mountaineering. They were young, ambitious, and experienced, which makes what happened next all the more chilling. The journey begins. In late January 1959, the group set off toward Mount Otorten, a peak whose name in the local Mansi language ominously translates to "don't go there." The weather was brutal. Temperatures dropped below -30 degrees Celsius. Winds cut across the slopes with merciless force. Yet the hikers pressed forward, keeping detailed diaries and photographs of their journey. These journals, recovered later, revealed their upbeat spirits. They sang songs, played games, and even joked about the hardships of the trail. Their laughter and optimism only deepened the tragedy that would follow. By February 1st, they had pitched their tent on the eastern slope of a mountain the Mansi called Kholat Shachel, Dead Mountain. It was the last known camp they would ever set up. The discovery of the camp. When the group failed to return, search teams went out. After days of scouring the snow, they discovered the hikers' tent on February 26th. It was a haunting sight. The tent was still standing but badly damaged, half buried in snow. Investigators quickly noticed something unusual. The canvas had been slashed open from the inside. The hikers had cut their way out, as if in desperate panic. Inside the tent lay their belongings: clothing, boots, food, cameras, journals. Nothing had been taken. Even warmer clothing and coats remained. Whatever had driven them out of the tent, it had been sudden and terrifying. Footprints led away from the camp, heading down toward a nearby forest. The strange part? The prints showed that some of the hikers had left barefoot. Others wore only socks. A few had a single boot. These tracks in deep snow and freezing winds made no sense. The first bodies. Not far from the forest's edge, searchers made a grim discovery. Beneath a cedar tree, 2 of the hikers, Yuri Doroshenko and Yuri Krivonishenko, lay dead. They were dressed only in underwear, barefoot, their bodies showing signs of having tried to build a fire. The branches above were broken, suggesting one of them had climbed in a frantic attempt to spot the camp or escape something unseen. Closer to the tent, 3 more bodies were found: Dyatlov, Kolmogorova, and Slobodin. They appeared to have died while trying to crawl back to the tent. Their positions suggested desperation, as though they had collapsed mid-stride in the snow. But the most disturbing discovery was yet to come: the ravine. It wasn't until months later, in May, that the remaining 4 hikers were found. Their bodies were buried beneath deep snow in a ravine further into the forest. Unlike the others, their injuries were catastrophic. One had a fractured skull so severe it was likened to a car crash. Another had multiple broken ribs and internal bleeding. 2 of them were missing their eyes. Lyudmila Dubinina, the only female in this group, was missing her tongue. What stunned investigators was the nature of these injuries. Despite broken bones and massive trauma, there were no external wounds. The damage was internal, as if caused by immense pressure, far beyond what a human could inflict. Even stranger, some of their clothing contained traces of radiation. The Soviet investigation. The Soviet government launched an inquiry, but it was far from thorough. Officials concluded only that the hikers had been killed by an unknown compelling force. The case was abruptly closed, and documents were sealed. Families were left with no answers. Whispers of a cover-up spread quickly. Why close the case so suddenly? Why classify the files for decades? What were they hiding? For years, only fragments of the truth were known, until the case files were partially released in the 1990s, after the fall of the Soviet Union. The theories over the decades, dozens of theories have tried to explain what happened at Dyatlov Pass. Avalanche. Some suggest a slab avalanche forced the hikers to cut open their tent and flee. But no evidence of a large avalanche was found, and the footprints suggest they walked calmly, not ran in panic. The internal injuries also don't fully align with this explanation. Military testing. Others believe the hikers stumbled into secret Soviet military experiments, perhaps parachute mines or rocket tests. This could explain the radiation and the strange injuries, as well as the government's hasty cover-up. Katabatic winds and infrasound. Modern scientists have proposed that powerful winds created low-frequency sound waves that triggered panic and disorientation. This infrasound could have made the hikers irrationally flee the tent, but it doesn't account for the violent injuries. Indigenous Mansi attack. At one point, authorities suggested the local Mansi people had attacked the hikers, but the footprints and lack of struggle disproved this quickly. Paranormal or extraterrestrial theories. Eyewitnesses in the region reported strange orange lights in the sky on the night of the tragedy. Some believe the hikers encountered a UFO or were victims of something supernatural. These ideas are dismissed by scientists but remain popular in the public imagination. Each theory solves one piece of the puzzle, but none explain everything. The conclusion. In 2019, Russian authorities reopened the investigation. Their conclusion? An avalanche once again. But many experts and family members remain unconvinced. The inconsistencies are too great and the evidence too strange. What really happened on that frozen mountain remains unsolved. 9 young lives ended in terror and confusion, their final moments etched into history as one of the most baffling mysteries of the 20th century. The Dyatlov Pass Incident is a reminder that sometimes the world refuses to give us neat answers. More than 6 decades later, the snow still covers the truth. If you found this mystery chilling, comment, like, and subscribe for more deep dives into the world's strangest and most haunting stories.